Hi viewers, I am Phoebe Bogart, your favorite presenter. And right now in the studio we have Mrs. Solomons. So I'm just going to give a few points to Mrs. Solomon regarding Ubuntu and the leadership surrounding it. And then we're going to ask Mrs. Solomons the following questions. Let's get into it. So Mr. Dube emphasizes the importance of Ubuntu in leadership, highlighting the values of compassion, empathy, and interconnectedness. These qualities are essential for building a strong relationship and fostering a sense of community within a team. However, in the world of work, implementing Ubuntu can be challenging as it requires individuals to prioritize collective well-being over personal gain. One specific example of how Ubuntu may work in the workplace is when a leader prioritizes team collaboration and support over individual access. Excuse my error. On the other hand, if individuals prioritize their own interests over the group, Ubuntu may not be effective in achieving the goals. So, my question for Ms. Solomons is, provide an example, right, in a real life situation where you may use Ubuntu leadership skills.
Thanks, Phoebe. And thanks to our viewers out there for tuning in. While I still worked at one of the big four banks in South Africa, we were busy with a project where we had to create a certain document. I had a team member from the IT side, and I also had a team member from the process side. And what happened is they were knocking heads because they had different perspectives on how this document had to be put together, what the content had to be. So it disrupted the teamwork quite a bit. Okay, so again, it was their own interests versus the collective type of thinking. So I went back after a disastrous team meeting and I just did some research so that I could understand where he was coming from and where the lady was coming from, and trying to bridge that gap where it seemed that there was just no meeting of minds. So I called another meeting and I started off by saying, okay, so from the IT side, this is what this particular these are the elements that need to be in the document from an IT side. And the guy, he felt heard. He was like, yes, this is exactly what I was looking for. And, you know, almost trying to push forward his point. And then I then explained that from the process side, this is what the lady would need in the document. And when I had done that, it is almost like the lights went off. You could actually, well, the lights went on, I suppose. You could actually see that they both understood that they were coming from different angles, but the fact that we still had to achieve the same goal in getting this document done, and that by incorporating both aspects, because now they understood why it wasn't one or the other, but that working together and actually having that empathy for one another, right, we were actually able to produce a much higher quality document at the end of the day. Does that answer your question, Phoebe?
Yes, it does. Thank you, Mrs. Solomons. Another question is, how does the theory presented by Mr. Dube contrast with your real life experience in the workforce?
I would say the example where you mentioned, you know, putting self-interest before, or rather the success of one person before the you know, the success of the team, and having that empathy and understanding. I would say that his theory is actually quite accurate, because in the workplace it's a lot about how do I get ahead, you know, and there's a lot of focus on my achievements, my goals, because I want to get my promotion, or I have my career path or the ladder that I want to climb up on. So it becomes very difficult for some people, depending on the leadership, and I'll get there now, to actually put the team and the synergy of the team and how the team can actually get ahead, and them also benefiting individually through that, to try and get people to understand that in the work environment is quite difficult. However, if your leadership emphasizes it, not just by talking, but also by doing. So it's leaders who actually go the extra mile to ensure that they're bridging that gap. So that if you're seeing people are being more individualistic and just focused on their own goals versus working together as a team, because you can achieve more together, so that more people shine, because you don't want to take away from what the person brings to the story, right? But as a leader, you need to be able to applaud and reward the individual, but at the same time, you also need to highlight the aspect of how what they have brought to the table has actually caused the team to grow. So you might need to put into place certain things, say for example a knowledge share, right? That's one thing we've done, where people who are very good in certain areas, they will share the knowledge, but because they're sharing the knowledge, the team gets to grow. Or you might put in a mentorship type of thing where you're using someone's individual skill, but it's developing someone else so that they're also able to grow. And all you can also do in the process is to foster the understanding and the within your team, that it's important that not just you shine, but that the team shines as well. And obviously that comes down to rewards as well. You know, rewarding the individual side is what we normally have, but also rewarding the impact that the person has had within the team. Whether you do it formally and informally, you also have to foster relationships so that the team understands each other. And that's normally with things you can do just to have fun within the team building exercises, again, formal and informal, so that when the person feels that interconnectedness with the team, they'd want to work together with other people. So building relationships, sort of like the softer side of things. It's also important to foster Ubuntu, but you should also back it up with some hard rewards that you can quantify.
Thank you, folks. And there you have it from Mrs. Solomon's, her expertise on the topic Ubuntu. Thank you so much for having us, and thank you for being with us.
Thank
Bye,
you so
folks.
much.